Have you ever imagined a prophet married to a prostitute? In this video, we will reveal the controversial story of Hosea, a man of unshakable faith who defied all logic and taught us a lesson of love and redemption that defies our understanding. Discover how this ancient biblical drama can transform your view of forgiveness and loyalty. Hosea, the prophet of God in the Bible, received an extraordinary command from the Lord to marry a promiscuous woman. To understand this story, it is crucial to know the social context of the time marked by peace and prosperity. Hosea was no ordinary prophet. He was the first of the 12 minor prophets of the Old Testament. Hosea, the prophet of God in the Bible, is an intriguing character who lived during a turbulent period in Israel's history. His prophetic mission occurred at a crucial moment after the division of the kingdom of Israel into two rival nations. He was appointed by God to deliver messages of repentance and warning to the Israelite people who had strayed from the ways of the Lord. In the midst of a society marked by corruption and moral decay, Hosea stood out as an example of faithfulness and obedience to God. His personal life was also the target of an unusual divine command to marry a woman known for her promiscuity. This symbolic union between Hosea and Gomer represented the troubled relationship between God and Israel, where infidelity and idolatry were common. Thus, Hosea became not only a messenger of the Lord's words, but also a living representation of divine metaphors about love, forgiveness, and redemption. During Hosea's ministry, Israel was experiencing a period of apparent prosperity and autonomy after years of conflict and political instability. Under the reign of Jeroboam II, the northern kingdom experienced a period of relative peace and military success, which led to an increase in the nation's wealth and influence. However, this time of material prosperity was also marked by unprecedented spiritual and moral decline. As Israel accumulated territorial conquests and material wealth, the population increasingly strayed from the ethical and religious principles established by God. Idolatry became widespread, with many Israelites turning to false gods for protection and prosperity. Moral corruption infiltrated all spheres of society, undermining the moral foundations that once sustained the nation. In this context, Hosea emerged as a lone prophetic voice, denouncing social injustices, the oppression of the most vulnerable, and the spiritual infidelity of the chosen people. His confrontational message echoed through the countryside and cities of Israel, challenging established power structures and pointing to the urgent need for repentance and a return to the ways of the Lord. During the reign of Jeroboam II, Israel was experiencing a period of relative political stability and economic prosperity. The kingdom's borders were expanding, and wealth was flowing through its lands. However, this era of material prosperity concealed a dark reality: the spiritual and moral decline of the Israelite people. As they accumulated conquests and wealth, many Israelites turned away from divine precepts, giving themselves over to idolatry and corruption. The search for alliances with foreign nations led to the breaking of the covenant with God, resulting in a progressive distancing from the moral and ethical values established by faith. Israelite society plunged into an abyss of injustice, oppression of the weakest, and disrespect for divine laws. In this turbulent context, Hosea emerges as a solitary prophetic voice, calling for repentance and a return to the ways of the Lord. The idolatry and unfaithfulness of the people of Israel were seen by the Lord as a form of spiritual betrayal. Instead of remaining faithful to God's precepts and the established covenant, the Israelites gave themselves over to the worship of idols and strayed from the path of righteousness. The pursuit of worldly pleasures and the lust for power led the chosen people to abandon the fundamental principles of their faith, exchanging the true worship of the Lord for empty rituals and offerings to false gods. The moral and spiritual corruption that permeated Israelite society was clear evidence of the spiritual decay that plagued the nation. Instead of turning to God in times of prosperity, the Israelites chose to follow their own selfish desires, neglecting God's laws and disrespecting the intimate relationship they should have with their Creator. The progressive distancing of the chosen people from the Lord resulted in devastating consequences, revealing the deep wounds caused by spiritual unfaithfulness. Thus, Hosea's story not only denounces the sinful practices of the past, but also serves as a timeless warning about the dangers of idolatry and betrayal of God. During the reign of Jeroboam II, the cities of Bethel and Samaria engaged in sinful practices, seeking to benefit their crops through ritual prostitution. It was believed that by maintaining relations with prostitutes and promiscuous women, the fertility of the land would be guaranteed and divine blessings would be assured. This deviant behavior revealed a profound distortion in the understanding of the sacred and an inversion of the moral values established by God. Furthermore, the construction of a golden calf in Bethel for worship also represented a clear transgression of the divine commandments against idolatry. The history of these cities serves as a warning about the dangers of spiritual corruption and the pursuit of material benefits through immoral practices, showing how disobedience to God's laws can lead to the moral and spiritual ruin of a society. God instructed Hosea to marry a prostitute named Gomer, not only as a symbolic act, but as a vivid representation of the relationship between himself and the people of Israel. Hosea's union with Gomer was a mirror of the unfaithfulness of the chosen people who had turned away from the ways of the Lord to follow other gods and sinful practices. By commanding Hosea to marry a woman known for her promiscuity, God was conveying a powerful message about the extent of his grace and unconditional love. Despite the people's betrayal and unfaithfulness, God continued to love them deeply and desired to restore the broken relationship. The story of Hosea and Gomer is a testament to God's forgiveness, patience, and relentless pursuit of the return of those who have strayed. Just as Hosea welcomed Gomer back into his home, God is always ready to forgive repentant hearts and welcome them into his arms with unwavering love. Even in the face of his people's sinful ways, God continued to love them deeply. The story of Hosea and Gomer is a testament to God's unwavering love that transcends human failings and betrayals. While many might judge Hosea's decision to forgive his unfaithful wife as a sign of weakness or foolishness, it was actually a reflection of the Lord's sacrificial and redemptive love for his people. Hosea's acts of forgiveness and restoration not only illustrate God's patience, but also point to God's compassionate and merciful nature. Just as Hosea welcomed Gomer back into his home, God is always ready to extend his hand of forgiveness to repentant hearts and offer a new chance to those who have strayed from his path. The story of Hosea and Gomer is a vivid testament to God's redeeming love that transcends the barriers of betrayal and unfaithfulness. In choosing Hosea to represent his relationship with Israel, God was revealing his deep compassion and unwavering commitment to his people. The journey of forgiveness and restoration amid the pain of betrayal underscores the sacrificial nature of God's love, which is not limited by human expectation. Hosea's act of welcoming Gomer back, despite her continued unfaithfulness, echoes the timeless message that God's forgiveness is always available to those who sincerely seek to return to the Lord. Just as Hosea persisted in loving his wife through adversity, God demonstrates his unfailing faithfulness to his people by offering a constant opportunity for reconciliation and spiritual renewal. Hosea's example reminds us that true love transcends human failings and disappointments, revealing the depth of God's grace that seeks to restore what was lost. The conclusion of the story of Hosea and Gomer highlights God's profound mercy and unconditional love. After years of unfaithfulness, betrayal, and painful consequences, the people of Israel find themselves in a state of desolation and repentance. The prophet Hosea's final words echo as a call to spiritual restoration and renewal. Even in the face of the harsh consequences of their sins, there is a promise of redemption and forgiveness for those who turn to the Lord in sincerity. The story of Hosea and Gomer is not just a tale of human love, but a powerful metaphor for the relationship between God and his chosen people. Just as Hosea welcomed his wife back, God is always ready to extend his compassionate hand to repentant hearts, offering the hope of a new beginning and deep reconciliation. In these final moments of the narrative, we are reminded of the infinite patience and faithfulness of the Lord, who longs to restore lost fellowship with his beloved children. As we contemplate the story of Hosea and Gomer, we are confronted with the magnitude of divine love, which transcends the boundaries of human understanding. The saga of these biblical characters is not only a story of forgiveness and redemption, but a profound reflection on the unfathomable nature of God's mercy. Hosea's acts of sacrificial love, performed amid the pain of betrayal, echo as an eternal testament to divine patience and compassion. In this context, we are invited to reflect on the infinity of God's love, which persists even in the face of the greatest adversity. The story of Hosea and Gomer is not just a tale of the past, but a timeless narrative that resonates in our hearts, reminding us of the promise of restoration and spiritual renewal for those who sincerely seek the Lord. May the journey of forgiveness and redemption experienced by these characters inspire in us the hope of a new beginning and a profound reconciliation with the divine. Subscribe now so you don't miss our upcoming videos, full of inspiring stories that promise to revolutionize your worldview. Thank you for joining us today. Each video is a new door to knowledge and inspiration. Until next time.